There we go.
All right. Hello and good morning, everybody. My name is Dushan Patel, CEO of Renovation, Swedish company, headquarters in Stockholm. As you can see on the slide here, it says, let's cover the last gap. So we are on a bold mission, really try to connect the 3.5 billion people today who doesn't have access to affordable mobile internet. And really, it's about bridging the digital gap. So it's not about the San Francisco Bridge over here. It's more about bridging the gap of digital divide and talk more about digital inclusion rather than digital divide. So what do? Well, it's about antennas. It's array antennas, passive antennas, basically no active, no electronic components in the antenna, only plastic, aluminum, and a lot of air. So the power consumption is very, very low. You actually gain more than 98% and lose about 2%. It's agnostic. It works with every existing supplier today, from Nokia, Samsung, Siemens, Ericsson, whatever you have at the moment. It's a patented technology, and it works with all commercial existing bands today, from 5G, 4G, 3G, 2G. And of course, it's a perfect solution for Open RAN. And it's, as I said, it's agnostic. So before I move into what this antenna does, let me just talk a little bit about the challenge that the MNOs have today. That's what we are facing and what we'll be talking about. First of all, it's about helping the MNOs to reduce CapEx and OpEx, not about 10% or 20%. We are talking about more than 80%, more than 70%. So what we are saying is that the upcoming investment that MNOs has in terms of infrastructure for 4G and 5G, especially around the world, they really need to make sure that we can help them cut OpEx. It's about making sure that the ARPU levels that can go down below $3, $2. Today, everybody around the table can afford mobile internet subscription for $20. But if you look at the rest of the world, Africa, Southeast Asia, Latin America, $2, $3 is more than that. So how can we help operator to be affordable with a $3 ARPU at the moment? And that's the key thing here. So connecting the last mile is very, very expensive for an operator. So that's what we are helping. So what is it? What does the antenna do? So on the right hand side, you can see the traditional footprint of an antenna. This was a Rosenborg antenna. This is in Sweden, north of Stockholm. You can see the footprint up there. By just swapping the antenna and putting the radio innovation antenna, you can see the coverage going up about 4 to 5 times on the left-hand side, and also the capacity. So what does it mean, basically? Well, number one, reduce the number of towers. Over here on the left-hand side, that's one tower. If you want the same coverage or same capacity, you need to put more, 4 or 5 towers. That's a huge amount of reduction in OpEx and CapEx. Now, this is just one example. I'll just flip through a couple of more examples here. This is Geo Reliance, one of the largest operators in India. You can see here on the dark blue, the signal goes all the way up to 15 kilometers. And the traditional antenna with the light color, you can see the signal dies about 4 or 5 kilometers. Now, in this particular case, Geo Reliance said, well, after 12 kilometers, can we reuse the energy to make sure that we can boost up the capacity by tilting the antenna a little bit? You can see the light blue color, the capacity going up at the moment. So just showing you that using this passive agnostic antenna, you can really make a good benefit out of it. Another area that's growing very, very rapidly for us is private networks. This is maritime. We are working with one of the largest operators, which is Orange, covering the English Channel from Dover in England all the way to Normandy in Spain. So, sorry, not Spain, Normandy in France. And you can see that you have LTE connection all over the place. So this is just about oil rigs, private networks, and maritime. So and this is going to be hopefully live very soon at the moment. So don't take our word for it. This is a white paper done by Orange Labs. What they've done at the moment is saying that, okay, let's look at the TCO, the total cost of ownership. How much would it cost to cover 1 square kilometer of an area? By everything, the rental of the tower, cables, antennas, radio base stations, everything. The cost for covering 1 square kilometer was approximately 47 euros. By just replacing the antenna from the traditional antenna to our antenna, the cost goes down from 47 euros down to 19. And this is excluding transmission. If you add transmission, well, the cost you can have savings up to 75, 80%. And that's a real about reducing number of sites as an example. Well, we have traction. We are right now, just as I said, the pandemic has slowed us down at the moment. We started our commercial trip back in 2019, 18, 19. I was here, we were part of the Facebook Accelerator program, and that was the boost for us. Now we are almost all over the place, except for Australia. We are working a lot in Africa at the moment, as you can see, India, Europe, nothing yet in the US, but I believe the private networks and the vast, huge country needs coverage, not only in Dallas or not only in San Francisco, but also outside the big cities as well. And that's where we believe that our solution could be very beneficial. Well, we have done this thing before. So the people behind the company have done this thing before. Our first generation antenna was actually sold to Ericsson as an entire company, and then became Ericsson Radio Systems. That was in the early 90s. The second generation antenna was then launched after that, and it was also bought by a large MNO in Europe. And now we are on the fourth or third generation antenna. And right now, as you can see, we have a lot of traction going on. I'm just going to stop here just to show a little clip of a movie. I put it here, just say yes. Yeah.
This is the story about an ingenious antenna that is about to change the world. Internet connectivity is something most of us take for granted. But for nearly 3 billion people, this is not the case. Vast landscapes, forests, oceans, mountains, and even cities, crowded with people, businesses, and communities, are hard to reach due to its distances, lack of infrastructure, and challenging topography. So things that most of us take for granted, the possibility to communicate, educate ourselves, share information and ideas, is not that obvious or even possible for others. Our mission is to change that. Let's cover the last gap.
Okay, so yes, what are we looking for right now? Of course, we are looking for partnership with MNOs around the world, tower companies. We are also gearing up for our second round of financing, our B round of financing. So we'll be looking for strategics, obviously, but also VCs around the corner at the moment. And now up for questions.
Excellent. Great job. Thank you.